All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Golf Unfiltered podcast. I'm your host, Adam Fonseca from golfunfiltered.com. I want to remind everyone that we are powered by Bridgestone Golf, a new partner with Golf Unfiltered. Very happy to have them along. And joining me today is the co-founder of Clinch Golf, one of the best golf gloves you'll ever wear. And we'll talk all about why, Mr. Matt Mahoney. Matt, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Hi, Adam. How are you?
I'm doing really good, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys. We've been kind of emailing back and forth for a little bit, and we've been looking for a time for you to come on, and I'm glad that we have you on. Before we get into all things Clinch Golf, why don't you let our listeners know a little bit about how you got started in the game?
Yeah, sure thing. So the origin of Clinch Golf really stems from, my dissatisfaction with leather as a gripping material. I'm an avid and lifelong golfer, and I've always been frustrated with leather. It might feel great fresh out of the envelope, but it always let me down at some point during the round. It stretches out as it gets moisture in it, and that can be from precipitation, from sweat, from grabbing a frosty beverage. And then it doesn't retract. And then once it gets moist, it's sort of game over. It doesn't do its number one job, which is to help you grip the club. So my interim solution was to begin playing with a rain glove year round, even in the summertime. But that worked to some degree, but rain gloves are sort of a niche product, and they've got some design limitations of their own. And at some point, and to be honest with you, this is a pandemic exercise and having a little free time on my hands.
Sure.
It really occurred to me, I thought about the golf industry as a lover of the game, and it occurred to me that, every product in golf, and, this is true for the rest of the sports world too, but it's particularly to golf, has been innovated upon, right? We've got the balls have come a long way. The clubs have certainly come a long way. The shoes have come a long way. Even the clothes we wear, are a different material now. They stretch, they have all sorts of moisture wicking properties, but we're stuck with the same old leather glove. And some other brands have come out with some cool looking gloves that, are different colors and have great logos and whatnot. But they are really, 95% of the gloves we see out there are still made out of leather. And it was my philosophy that leather was there's just had to be a better way. And I happened to meet my co-founder in Clinch Golf, Jason Del Sodato, who also lives here in Portland, Oregon, where I reside. And Jason had a sort of deep background in product development experience, had worked at Nike for 25 years, I believe, and had been in all sorts of different divisions, had a deep knowledge of fabrics, had worked with some of the factories that had produced some of the cool stuff that Nike's come out with over the years. And he shared my frustration with the glove. And so we hit it off, and we kind of began a long journey of doing some product testing, doing some wear testing, some samples, tried a slew of different materials, and we happened upon one that we really love. And we brought it to market nearly a year ago.
Wow. That's quite the story.
Today, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Over a year now. And so I have a glove here because you guys sent me some gloves. And so I want to show this specifically for our YouTube watchers here. This, as you mentioned, it's not leather. I mean, it's like a tactile, it's almost like a cloth, I would describe it. And one of the first things, I'll be honest with you, when I opened up the glove, because I'm accustomed to the leather, I'm accustomed to the tacky, feel of a golf glove, I was a little bit skeptical maybe on how this would work. But I will say this, I have worn this, or a glove, you've sent me a few, I will wear one of your gloves every single time I pick up a golf club now, and I have yet to have a problem with it. They are my preferred glove right now. How did you figure this material out?
A bit of trial and error. We sort of started with the base of a rain glove material, but we added some stretch to it, and we added some properties that aided in durability. Okay. So, there's lots of cool stuff that our gloves do that I'd be happy to chat about. But the two main things are they grip when wet, which leather cannot do, and they last longer than leather, significantly longer for most people. And you're not alone, Adam, in when you first touch them. And I admit I was skeptical when I first touched this material too, that it would last as long as it does, because it has a thin feel and it really allows you to grab the club, which is great, but it does seem like it's going to wear out quickly. But we have, I myself was someone that tended to blow out a glove, in the palm here, and we have legions of people who have now tried Clinch gloves for round after round, range session after range session, and I'm not going to claim that they will never wear out. They are a product with a shelf life, but they
Sure.
last significantly longer than a leather glove. And we're still gathering information before we make any bold claims about that, or any concrete claims. But we do generally estimate twice as long as a leather glove and at least 20 rounds is what
Wow.
we're hearing.
That's incredible. And so it's funny, I put the glove on, and so I would wear out my glove a lot in the palm, like specifically over here. One, because I have a horrible habit of like re-gripping the club in my backswing.
Yeah.
And so the grip on my club would actually rub on the material. And I would say that your gloves have literally eliminated that problem for me. Like, it's now granted that I have to work on that swing flaw, but the glove itself is super durable. I have played in wet weather. It's still, cold out where in Chicagoland here. No problems whatsoever. I noticed no difference in tackiness. It is an incredibly good grip. And you mentioned that not only is this something that's very comfortable, but I've noticed my hand doesn't sweat either. It's a very breathable material.
Yeah, your hand is probably still sweating. It's just flying away in the air and not
Right.
away on your grip. Hey, Adam, one of the reasons that it's that you're not wearing that out is if you look at the palm material inside that glove, you'll see that there's some added material in there, and it's very thin. You may not even have noticed it, but it's what we call, the technical term is a TPU screen print. And the original reason we put it there was to aid in durability. But what we found is it actually helps keep the glove snug on the hand. Most people won't feel it or notice that it's there, but it keeps the glove taut to the hand, so which really helps eliminate some of that friction and wear, kind of adding to both to the grip and to the durability.
Definitely. And what I really appreciate about the fit, because it all boils down to fit, right? I mean, if you're going to wear a glove, you need it to fit snug. Listeners, if you didn't know that, you don't want your glove to be all loose all over the place. And so what you just said, the material almost forms to your hand. I was just blown away by how comfortable these are.
Yeah, thanks. We like them too.
So as you've brought these to market, you said you've been just over a year. What has early reception been like?
Yeah, so we are primarily a direct-to-consumer company. So we have a select amount of stores here in the Pacific Northwest where we're selling in pro shops and in retail stores. But part of the benefit of selling online has been the fact that we've now sold gloves to all 50 states, to many of the other nations with golfing cultures. So we've heard a wide variety of feedback from different climates. Part of the origin might, I live in Portland, Oregon, a famously rainy climate,
Right.
where I need, I need protection 9 months of the year of the golfing year. I need a rain glove or something that works when wet. But we hear great feedback from folks in Hawaii who have, deal with humidity and frequent rainstorms, from people in Florida and Arizona who may not deal with as much rain as we do, but have, sweat, humidity, perhaps dipping their hand in a cooler.
Right.
There's all sorts of reasons your hand gets wet during a round of golf. So we've enjoyed hearing feedback, not necessarily from the initial group of our friends that were testing it, but from, people around the world and around the country that are giving us feedback. And we're really enthused about what we're hearing.
So you had mentioned that you're in a few pro shops. We do have a lot of golf courses and GMs that listen to this show. What are some of the pieces of feedback or early feedback you've heard from the golf courses?
Yeah, we launched in a course called Wildwood here in the Portland area, who have a sort of, they were kind enough, they have a sort of a locally curated selection of products, and so they were the first one to bring us on. So I want to give them a shout out for doing that.
Nice.
And we have just continued. They brought on a small amount, and we've continued to restock them and continue to restock them. As word has grown, we are selling not only to the core group of golfers that are sort of in our, call it age and handicap range, but to, older golfers, to, there are some youth golfers, although we don't have a complete size range yet. We're just getting great feedback. One, just to be completely candid with you, one negative is that the pros who run the shops don't love the fact that the gloves are so durable. But we're going to cure that with additional styles and colorways so that people are tempted to buy more.
Yeah, I could imagine that's true. I worked in a golf club for a long time, and yeah, they like to keep things coming in.
Yeah.
What's interesting though is, someone who's just starting out, you and your co-founder partner. I always love to talk to entrepreneurs like yourself, just kind of the process of getting started. And so you had mentioned you've tried a lot of different materials. You've gotten into pro shops already. Let's face it, listeners to this show know that the golf glove, accessory, apparel market is very saturated. There had to be some nerves going in right from the start.
Absolutely. There absolutely were. You're right. It's a tough market to break into. Oftentimes the direct to consumer space is one thing, but the shops are oftentimes have, agreements with the big manufacturers, and there are barriers to entry. But I think we've won people over by just having a kind of a differentiated product. There's a little bit of an education, but we're happy to help shops through that. We have materials we can provide, and customer testimonials that'll just show people that there's a better way than other.
Absolutely. I love stories like this because, it's a product that everybody, well, not everybody, but I would say 90% of golfers need or that they use. I know I have a few friends that don't use gloves, but for the most part, you always want that clean connection to the golf club. And you want to do so in a way that is consistent, repeatable, and let's face it, stylish too, to a degree. You have many different colors that are available as well. Do you foresee, as time goes on, I know you're just a year in, but do you foresee kind of expanding the options and the colors? And you had mentioned even into the junior side of the game.
Yeah, we do. We have, when we first designed our glove, we had two core designs. We've got a few different, we decided to launch one of them. And we have another design that will likely be launching later this year. Featuring the same great material, but has more of a kind of a modern, streamlined design as opposed to our current glove has a nod towards tradition. We're doing some brand collaborations, so we'll be doing some. We can do all sorts of cool things with screen printing and different patterns on our gloves. So you'll see more of that. And there'll also be a new style launching later this year that'll, I think, have the same properties, but perhaps a different look that appeals to maybe a younger audience.
Nice. And I noticed on your website, which again, listeners, is clinchgolf.com. Go out there and you can see the entire selection that they have available. You also offer a guarantee to customers.
We do. Yeah, we're happy to, first of all, offering a size guarantee, because we understand that, buying any product online that's comes in a range of sizes, whether it be shoes or clothing, you take a bit of a risk there. So we have a size guide. So we encourage people to take a look at that. Our gloves do have a bit of stretch to them. So they'll fit a wider variety of hands. But if folks out there happen to order one and it's not a good fit, we're happy to exchange it for a new size. And we're happy to take returns if it doesn't happen to be the glove for you.
I'm glad you mentioned the stretch in the glove, because these gloves fit me perfectly. I mean, I've kind of got like one of those in between sizes. And so I went with medium. It absolutely stretched just enough that made it completely comfortable. It doesn't feel like it's, stretching or pressuring too much on my fingers. It's just a really well-made glove. And when you had mentioned that you had started with the model of like a rain glove, this absolutely reminds me of that now. I hadn't thought of it at first, but it's very evident that was kind of the origins to this. Did you borrow or were you inspired rather by any other designs that you really wanted to incorporate into early prototypes?
Yeah, I think you'll see that, the glove you're holding in your hand, has a nod towards tradition. It looks,
Yep.
from a basic style perspective, it looks like other gloves out there. We happen to like our logo and the colors we chose, but um, and we found a designer. Gloves are notoriously. I discovered this in the process, that gloves are not an easy thing to design because they have so many little pieces to them. So we happened to find a designer that works for, let's just call it, a well-known company based in Portland, in
Sure.
the sporting goods realm. And he was able to help us with a couple of our designs. So, the first one, as I said earlier, has a nod towards tradition. The second one, that we'll be launching later this year, has a little bit of a more modern feel, but I think both are going to offer the same great feel. One of the things, Adam, I like to mention about the differentiation with leather is what we call minivations. So,
Hmm.
and some of these were a happy accident, but number one, our gloves are screen friendly, so smartphone compatible. A lot of people are
Hmm.
apps to record their scores, are bumping tunes on the course. There's a million reasons you got to take a call from your boss. Our phones will work, our gloves will work with your phone, where leather gloves will not. But another big one is the fact that they're washable. And that was a happy discovery. But I wore, during product testing, I wore the same glove for months on end, and it did not wear out. But I will admit, it got a
Wow.
little grimy from sweat and grease and what have you. But you can either throw it in the dishwasher or throw it on a gentle cycle in the washer, let it air dry, and it comes right back to life and looks like new. So another kind of a minivation that we like to tout.
I love that. I didn't even realize that, but that's great to know because I mean, golfers want to get the most they can out of the products that they buy. Let's face it. I mean, we both golf. Golf can be expensive. And by the way, your gloves are at an excellent price point. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the gloves are sold for $25 online at clinchgolf.com. If you search hard enough, you can probably find yourself a discount code as well. So, and we find it to be a great value. They're kind of right in line with pricing of most premium gloves out there. But again, I think you'll find if they last at least twice as long, I think most folks will find that to be an excellent value.
What did you enjoy the most out of, because you had mentioned you had learned these minivations. What are some of the other things you enjoyed the most during startup?
Yeah, I'm kind of a social creature, and so I guess this has been an opportunity to talk to a whole lot of people like
Mm,
yourself. So thanks for having me on today, Adam.
sure.
I'm a big fan of the show, but just the chance encounters on the golf course or on the street with folks that hear about the product and the opportunity to talk golf is a big appeal for me.
Excellent, excellent. And I know that with any new brand or company getting started, there's also some of those things that keep you up at night. The old cliche, what keeps you up at night? What keeps you up at night, Matt?
Yeah, good question. There's no secret to we're a small fish in a big pond, and we've got an uphill battle. I think one of our biggest challenges is product awareness and trying to sell a differentiated product into a marketplace of people that are leather is the norm, and we're trying to move folks away from that. So it's almost a one for one education process. So that's what keeps me up at night is how to effectively communicate that.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust that and brand loyalty that golfers have, and it passes down from, oh, my grandfather played this brand, so I'm going to play this brand or something like that, and so I totally understand where you're coming from as far as offering something a little bit different, allowing golfers allowing themselves to trust in the difference and then to really go and see through their own experience that it's wonderful. And I have to say, Matt, I mean, I had the exact same thing for myself trying Clinch gloves. I can't say this enough, listeners. I mean, these are fantastic. This is my golf glove of choice now. And I'm not just saying that because I have the co-founder on. Like, I literally wear this every single time. I tell my friends about it and they've never heard of it yet, but I'm like, well, now you need to go out and check it out. I would imagine that early reception from people who finally try the product, it's been pretty similar to that, no?
It has. Again, and I'll just, in the spirit of being candid, it's not for everyone. You're right.
Mhm.
I have friends that have tried it and have stuck with their own leather gloves, but the folks that do try it and do like it sort of become evangelists for Clinch gloves, if you forgive the term. People get so enthusiastic about it, they want to go out and sell it for us. And that's really what has spurred us on and kept us going. Is it's really fun to hear those stories and meet those people.
Excellent. And listeners, I apologize if you hear a horn blowing in the background. I live near a busy street, so it's rush hour right now. But I will say, that's another reason why I like stories such as yours. Brands like yours, they are challenging the norm. They're trying to be disruptors. They're bringing something new to the market that, we wouldn't even really think needed to be innovated. Like you had said at the beginning of our conversation, I just can't get over not only the not to be too heavy-handed, but the bravery that you guys had to try something like golf gloves. I mean, we have a lot of people on this show that will do something like, golf grips, or they'll do golf shoes or what have you. I think you're the first ones that have actually been on to talk about golf gloves, and you guys hit a complete home run with these. I can't say enough good things about these.
Well, thank you so much, Adam. That's great to hear.
So as we're getting closer to the time here, folks, once again, Matt Mahoney is one of the co-founders over at clinchgolf.com. Be sure to go out there and check out everything we're talking about. Clearly, we've covered a lot of ground in our conversation. You said that you've got a new model that's going to be releasing a little bit later on in the year. Where would you like to go with things? Are you thinking we want to see a Clinch glove on the hand of a PGA Tour player? Do you want to see in big box stores? What's your true north?
Yeah, that's a great question. PGA Tours are notoriously expensive to sponsor.
Yes.
So we're working on a more of a small time influencer campaign with some well-known golfers that we've made connections with. We have had a caddy or two on the PGA Tour touting our products, but we haven't gone as far as sponsoring a product just due to means. I think where we see this going is diversifying our glove selection, growing the availability of the gloves that we have, and then perhaps looking at other products that might be a complement. That could be rain gear or various products that are a complement. So right now the core of what we're offering is gloves.
Excellent. And if you do go out to clinchgolf.com, folks, they do have some apparel. They've got hats, they got t-shirts, and there's going to be more products hitting that website very soon too, if we understand what Matt's telling us today. So look, we've talked a lot. I am a true believer in what you guys are doing. Listeners, if you're hearing this, viewers, if you're watching this is a brand that you want to get involved with right away. I mean, this is truly an excellent idea. The materials, the fit, the features, you're going to keep your hands dry. You're going to be able to, grab on to your golf glove or your frosty beverage, even when things are wet. It's all wonderful. Get involved. Matt, is there anything else you'd like to leave our listeners with about Clinch Golf today?
I think you've said a lot, Adam. I really appreciate the time. Visit us at clinchgolf.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Clinch Golf. We often have some giveaways and tasty tidbits on there. So, encourage you to give us a try. And thanks so much for the time.
Absolutely. And you can follow us at Golf Unfiltered all across social media. You guys know where you find us. I'm usually making a fool out of myself on social media doing something. But at any rate, Matt, thanks so much for coming on. Let's keep in touch too. Let's bring you on. I love to bring you guys back to see how things are going and what we can do to help.
Absolutely. Thanks, Adam.